What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Novichenko Whips YouTube channel. Happy Monday. Got stuff flinging around the car. Today's an exciting day. We're kind of going to get a new project car. If you're a car guy, you know this feeling. It's kind of interesting. Especially if you're older, you probably did this on like Craigslist, you know, hit people up like 60 miles away, right? But the deal looks great. And so you're like kind of on the fence at first, then you're like, I'm just gonna do it. But I'm pretty much going to pick up what seems to be a super exciting car that needs work. So I'm going to be picking up a low profile U-Haul trailer, car towing trailer. I've done it in the past and those work really nice. They ride really nice on the road. I would recommend. This car is rear wheel drive and it's an automatic, so I don't really want to use a dolly. If it were front wheel drive, definitely easy to get a dolly. All wheel drive, definitely don't use a dolly. You're gonna, unless you've somehow disconnected the driveline. But I don't know, let me know if you guys get this feeling. I'm a little older now. I've been buying project cars for what, 20 years, buying and selling. And so when I was younger, I guess I sold and bought cars a lot more often because I had a lot more time for that. And I got burned once. I bought, this is so funny, my one like American quote unquote maybe new school muscle car. It was like a Chrysler 300C with the Hemi in it. And the guy had all the paperwork, you know, pictures of IDs, but they do this thing, right, where someone will buy a car, the seller will technically fill out the title, but the buyer won't fill it out and won't register the car, and they'll go flip it or resell it, and that pretty much in a way helps them avoid paying purchase tax or whatever, sales tax. I know people do it to make a buck, but in this case, I had done that before, and I was like a young, you know, I don't know, 18, 20-year-old, and I'm like, I've had worse cases where cars had like questionable paperwork, and usually if the car is not reported stolen, which is probably the biggest red flag, but you know, when you're younger, you'd never check for any of that stuff. The paperwork's there, so you're all confident, you do it. And so I bought this car. I even started fixing it, like putting little things on it. I don't remember if I paid $6 or $8 grand for it. And I went to register it, and they're like, we're sorry, there seems to be an issue with this car or this title. You should contact the police. And I'm like, oh, no way. You know, you get that heart sunk feeling. And yeah, it was reported stolen. These people, they were like a crime ring, Grand Theft Auto ring in Seattle. They broke into people's homes, stole their paperwork, their money, and stole their cars, and then sold them, you know, legitimately by filling out the titles for these people, having fake bill of sales, and having ID pictures because they probably stole people's IDs as well. So that was a horrible experience. Had FBI come to my house. The guy was super chill, very nice, talked to me. They found the people and caught the people eventually, but of course I never saw my money. But thank God, you know, I believe that what goes around comes around, so I'm sure my money has come back to me tenfold. I received that. And so today, since then, I have been very picky about buying cars without the titled owner there. I've made some exceptions. Usually the car has to be on the cheaper end for me to like go for it. So for example, my last STI, same thing. It was like the owner's brother. The owner was, I think, either out of state or in the hospital. It was a tough situation. And so I called up the owner on the title and I spoke to him, and I'm like, hey man, this is your car. Are you okay with your brother selling it? I don't know if I recorded that, but it gave me more peace of mind. I bought it and everything went through fine with the registration. For example, this car, what looks like it's a sweet car, it's a sweet deal. It has a throttle body issue. For me, it's a funny thing, like, why sell a car over a throttle body issue? So I'm gonna have to do a little bit of a deep dive on this thing, and I brought my Autel scanner, make sure there's nothing else. I want the guy to start it for me. We're gonna have to start it either way if we're gonna put it onto the trailer. So I gotta keep a keen eye out to see if, you know, these Facebook Marketplace sellers are legit and saying the full truth about what's going on with this car. But due diligence and a recommendation, if you're gonna buy a car, get the VIN number, get the plate number if you can, and get the title number. For example, this guy came out and said like, hey, I haven't registered it. It broke on me, I'm trying to get rid of it, but I have the bill of sale, I have the title signed by the previous owner. So I called my local DOL, I'm like, hey, can you run these plates? Some places will say no. Like there was like this place here that does titling and they're not the official DOL. They said, no, we can't tell you anything. And I was like, all right. So I called the real DOL in downtown and they were like really nice. They're like, sure, what's the plate number? So I told them, they're like, what's the name of the person you're talking to? I told them, they're like, that is not the owner. And I said, okay, this person said that they purchased this car, they have title and bill of sale, and that they just want to resell it. And they're like, you know, that's okay. Definitely get a new bill of sale from this middleman. And then they also asked me to get a title number, the latest title number they have, and they ran that and they said, yes, that's the latest one. It's up to date. The car is not reported stolen. So you want to hear those words. I would not buy a car without a title or with iffy, like worse paperwork situation, unless you were just doing like a parts car and never going to register it, because you know, you could be end up on the, you know, the wrong side of the stick or whatever. You could be screwed over. Also helps, this person, for example, is having me come to their house. He's gonna let me take a photo of their ID. I know their address. Like, this stuff helps. I remember back in the day when I got, you know, lied to, the guy met me at like a Walmart parking lot and I don't remember asking to see his ID and a picture of his ID. Could have easily been faked. Even if I would have asked, I'm sure that kind of ring, whatever they were, Grand Theft Auto ring, they probably were smart enough to have fake IDs, right? So they couldn't be tracked or whatever. But honestly, sometimes the juice is worth the squeeze, hopefully. This car is pretty cool. I've driven one of these cars before and it was super cool. It's German. I'll leave it at that for now until I am sure I'm getting in, then I'll reveal it to you. But let's go pick up a U-Haul and make it out there. Gonna be a little bit of a drive.
Yeah. It sounds like a Hellcat. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Here we are. We got one to fix.
Day one.
Day one for sure. All right, so as you may have just seen, we just purchased a roughly running E55 AMG. Interesting car, very cool car. I definitely have loved these ever since I ever got to learn about them. E55 supercharged, right? 5.4 liter, I think. And then on the E63, I think the following years, they switched to a 6.2 liter naturally aspirated. And so a lot of people rave about the E55 because you can hop up the supercharger, more forced induction, and you can make more power. So technically this one is supposed to be modified quite a bit. It has a smaller supercharger pulley, bigger crank pulley. It has methanol injection. I'm gonna learn about that, I guess. I'm not too keen. I know I've heard a lot of bad things about methanol injection because, again, you need a lot of safety precautions in order for that to run correctly, right? You want it to not give you that crazy power in your tune when you have no methanol in the tank. So you need a lot of safeguards. Whereas, for example, if you tune for E85, you just always have your E85 in your tank. But we'll see, right? This is a new, exciting thing for me. Definitely excited. The guys that I met were super cool, very open about everything they tried to do to fix the car and what they've done to it so far. They have not owned it long. I think the main issue, throttle body went out. It's an electronic throttle body. They ordered one from like the dealership. It was an incorrect one. I guess for this year there could be 2 different types, and of course they're expensive. I think they're like $1,800. And so I think they were trying to find the second part number used, and it's just hard to find stuff like that, right? So it's an expensive part. If it's just the throttle body, honestly, I think it's a great buy. The The car looks, I'd say, like 8 out of 10. Has a couple exterior wise small dents that can all be fixed. Paint is in okay condition. Under the hood looked pretty good, pretty dry, nothing extremely worrying. And so I'm excited. You know, it's just a 2006 Mercedes E55 AMG. I putted it onto the U-Haul trailer. It runs okay. It does backfire, right? Because you have a fully open, pretty much, intake into the supercharger because the throttle body's not there. But you know, it runs, and it putted on there, and you know, there's no response from the throttle, of course, because throttle body is not there. But I'll do a full in-depth walk around once I get home. We'll probably wash it, clean it, just get it into the condition that I want it to be able to work on it comfortably in the garage. And so yeah, we'll take you on this cool journey. Here she is, we got her home. Happily, everything was smooth sailing, some traffic. Quick tip, if you're using these U-Haul trailers, they have this big lip up here. So if you can do like a 2x4 or a kind of a little rampy thing, definitely helps you not rip off any lips. But this is her. She's, you know, not rough around the edges, but it's got some age. Overall pretty straight. And so we're gonna pull her off of here and then take the trailer back and then probably wash the car and see what we're working with. I'm trying to angle the trailer a little bit so it's easier for the car to come off of it. Should be okay with the lips and stuff. Overall, it's not crazy low. I'd say it has about up to 6 inches of ground clearance. Boop. And hold it nice, like right here. No, it's already recording. Just hold it, okay? Oops. Can you see? So like this, and just Papa gonna drive off, okay?
Okay.
Papa's gonna get the key.
Yeah. Okay. Hey.
Well, that was no fun. It was just idling, backing up, and it scooted those trailers right back in there. I guess lesson learned, don't ever try to take a car off this trailer if the back of it's angled slightly up, because it's not going to come off. Rookie mistake. Okay, I guess I figured it out. In a pinch, if your rear tires are not reaching the ground, you can use sometimes a jack in the front. So for example, this comes with the arm jack. I had some big 4x4s, like posts, pieces of posts. So I jacked it up kind of higher. It got traction in the back. I scooched back a couple feet. You can see to here. And now I just rolled the ramps out again. Now she'll just come off easy. I guess, yeah, I should have known. I was just in a rush. Next time, definitely don't. Make sure that the end of where you're coming off of is higher than the front, because your car's not rolling off. You're kind of gripping off, and for some reason those sliders don't secure in. We've given her a quick wash. Overall, she's in okay condition. There's a couple things here and there, like this looks like residue off of their previous owner's recent windshield replacement. I'm gonna have to buff all that off, but I'd say 8 out of 10. There's a couple small dents on the trunk. She looks pretty mean. Let's see in the evening sun. I know with black paint, you can pretty much see everything very, very easily. But this is a cool shot, as long as I refit that side skirt. Let's get her in the garage and get her slightly lifted up, and we'll inspect underneath. I like to do that with any car I purchase. Fair warning, she sounds a little rough with no throttle body on there, so we're just gonna put it in the garage, get it up, and start tearing things apart like usual. Hopefully the battery's not dead. Oh, the class! That's all the driving we're gonna do for today for sure. I guess a little bit about the car. It has a methanol tank. I probably need to open that, see if there's anything in there. And we're gonna eventually figure out, when I get the car running, what kind of meth I need to put in there, how much, and so to speak. We need to charge up that battery. We need to clean up all the previous owner's junk in here. And I need to probably find a mat that will fit in there. The interior itself is pretty cool. It's this burgundy leather. The seats are in pretty good condition, especially the rear, because people usually don't sit in those. Driver's side looks good. Passenger side looks good. Overall, it has some cool parts. It's got pretty cool wheels. I think the previous owner just bought new tires. They even just filled it up with fuel before it broke down and started acting up. So I think it has an E63 front end, so it doesn't fit perfectly, but I'm gonna work on that fitment. First, we gotta get the front of the car up. The paint's rough in some areas. It's probably been an outdoor car, if not all of its life, or a lot of its life. So that's a fair consideration. My plan of attack is, so they said the previous owner had like an Amazon throttle body and it gave out. And that finding a OEM throttle body is tough, and there's 2 of them at least for this model year, and so if you get the wrong one, it won't fit. So I'm just gonna buy another Amazon one, a new one, of course, plug it in and see if the car's more happy. If it's more happy, I'm gonna start sourcing like a OEM one. But I want to get this thing running. I want to start figuring it out. I don't like to procrastinate too much if I can help it. And so I think just for today, we're going to wrap this up for the video. It's been pretty eventful for myself, especially with my fun time getting it off the trailer. But here she is. She has BC Racing coilovers. I don't think I've shown you under the hood fully. Let's just do that real quick. Hood up in service mode. Boom. We've got the hand-built 5.5 by Errol Cork, I think. Anyway, my wife actually pulled him up on the forums and he built a lot of these engines. Cool guy, I'm sure. So yeah, we're gonna get this thing up in the air. I'm gonna get a look underneath. And so throttle body goes right there. Boom shack throttle body. The intakes usually go to it. I think someone just had like a cone filter here. I'm gonna look for a way to get cold air from the front. Being myself, you know, super nerdy guy, we're gonna want this thing to run as top as possible. I know it has a smaller supercharger pulley and then a bigger crank pulley to up the boost. Thus, probably, I'm gonna guess these are the methanol lines, although these are huge. But I saw 2 lines go from the trunk up in here, so I'm going to be pulling a lot of these covers off, and we're going to be figuring out stuff as we go. But it's kind of cool. You got the 2 German rivals. This one's a bit older, about 6-7 years older, but still classics, ultimate classics here that I'm excited to dive into. It's my first AMG ever, or true AMG. Thanks for joining along. Hopefully you found this interesting, somewhat educational, and stick around for this build series of the E55 AMG. Peace out.